Thanks for joining us for an update on the storm damage this morning in Union County. My name is Liz Cooper, and I am the Director of Public Communications for Union County. Joining us this afternoon is Andrew Ansley, Director of Emergency Management, and Tricia Palmer with the National Weather Service. And then available for questions if needed is UCPS Assistant Superintendent of Student Support, Jared McCraw. So I'll bring up Andrew for a brief overview of the latest information that we can share, and then the National Weather Service will do the same.
All right, good afternoon. I wanted to begin by saying that no injuries were reported during this event, and that's probably the main focus of this storm is nobody got hurt. Just at a high level, the National Weather Service will provide a little more detail related to the storm. Tornado watch was issued for Union County at 7:49 this morning. That was followed up with a tornado warning at 8:31 that was projected to last till 9 o'clock that morning. At about 8:53, 911 received a call from a resident indicating that they saw what looked to be a funnel cloud in the area of Ridge Road and Friendly Baptist Church Road. Shortly thereafter, we began getting additional calls reporting damages to property, some damage to primary residences and secondary structures, which are barns or outbuildings or sheds. We mustered up 5 damage assessment teams, which is common for a storm of this nature. That was Union County Fire Marshal's Office and Union County Building Code. Those folks go out into the area. Their mission is to identify and categorize damages based on classifications of minor all the way up to major. Any additional dollar amounts, that's not something we do at this stage. That's something that's handled with the property owner and their insurance. Damage that we saw, primarily property damage, as you can imagine. Very high winds, very fast-moving storms, so trees down, limbs. There were some utility damage, power poles down, things of that nature. The damage to structures is everything from cosmetic damage, meaning some vinyl siding, some trim off, some shingles off, to the most significant we saw was a residence under construction that was framed with some roofing material on there that suffered some structural damage related to the winds. Most of the damage is probably concentrated within about a 2-mile area, beginning in that Ridge Road, Friendly Baptist Church area, and proceeding out towards Lawyers Road, where it looks like there was an end point of damage seen. Okay. Any questions related to that? Okay.
Good afternoon, everybody. Like Andrew said, we are very grateful at the National Weather Service that there were no injuries with this storm. Just as a preliminary assessment, we've gone out with emergency management and the Fire Marshal's Office, and in looking at the damage from the start point to the end point, it does look like we have a preliminary a rating of an EF1 tornado with maximum wind speeds of about 90 miles per hour. It looks like it was on the ground for approximately 2.2 miles. Like Andrew said, we issued the tornado warning this morning at 8:31 a.m. and based on radar estimates and where the first damage point was, it looks like the tornado touched down at approximately 8:34 a.m. Again, this is all preliminary data, and as we go back and we continue to evaluate, these may adjust by a minute or two here or there, but this was a very fast-moving storm, moving at about 50 miles an hour, so it was really only on the ground for about 3 minutes. So it looks like it lifted at about 8:37 a.m. So again, very fast-moving storm, was not on the ground for very long at all. And again, it was a preliminary rating of an EF1. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to take them.
So what makes this so difficult for you guys to, in terms of with it coming in along a line, what challenge does that add for you guys?
When you're looking at a line of severe thunderstorms like what we had today, this is the technical term for this was a quasi-linear convective system, otherwise known as a squall line. These types of tornadoes, they don't spin down like you might see out in the plains. They spin up. Okay, so the circulation begins at lower levels and then they spin up. So getting lots of lead time on these kinds of tornadoes is very difficult because they're smaller, they're a little harder to see, and again, they don't start rotating in the mid levels and then work their way down like a supercell. Luckily, they're not usually as big as the ones in a supercell either. But again, since they start rotating at lower levels and work their way up, we don't usually get quite as much lead time on those. Our goal is to try to get about 13 minutes of lead time if we can, but with these types of storms, our lead time is usually typically a little bit lower. Yep.
We know that there's a weather radar gap in the, GSP area and the coverage area that has been covered and is being addressed. Were there sufficient warnings in this case?
We use all the data that we have at our disposal to issue warnings, and we were heavily using the Charlotte, what we call the terminal Doppler weather radar, which has 1 minute data. And that was what we were using in this case to issue the warning. And by having that data at our disposal and available for our meteorologists, they're able to get out the best warnings possible in this case.
Tricia, Michael Wayne on the old newspaper reporter with the Inquirer Journal. In your assessment with the Friendly Baptist Church Road situation this morning, when you took a look at everything you saw out there, do you know by any chance how many power lines were down in that area where you all looked at here? If Andrew could possibly answer the question.
So there's one area along Lawyers Road where we saw at least 6 poles in a series that were down. There was a lot of flying debris that hung up on the wires, but the wires and the poles were still upright and operational. There was, at one point, 1,700 people out of power, really associated with that series of 6 down. But that was really the only power lines we saw down in any area.
Can you touch on it, EF1 90 miles per hour, to have no injuries, no real main dwellings disrupted or even really that damaged? Can you talk about what could have been, I guess, if that were to have taken a different path?
It's hard to say. Every tornado is different across the country and even really across the southeast. About 75% of our tornadoes are the EF0, EF1. About 25% are the EF2, EF3s, and only, those numbers don't quite add up. So about 23% are EF2, EF3s, and only about 2% across the southeast, and I'm talking the Carolinas and Georgia, are the violent tornadoes. We've never had an EF5 in the Carolinas or in Georgia that's been recorded. But if you consider fatalities, those numbers are flipped. So 75% of the fatalities are from the EF4s, and only about 2% are from the EF0s, EF1s, and those are usually either from trees falling on homes or cars, or from folks that are in mobile or manufactured homes that unfortunately start rolling, which can happen at wind speeds as low as 70, 80 miles per hour. So that's why we always tell people, if you're in a mobile or manufactured home, please find safe shelter elsewhere, and always, always, always please have multiple ways to receive warnings.
And could the school system address some questions? So, Porter Ridge High School, can you just give your name?
Okay.
And your title?
Yes, I'm Jared McCraw. I'm the Assistant Superintendent for Student Support.
And what was the damage that you all had at Porter Ridge?
We're still assessing that at this time. Our facilities team is still assessing that.
We had heard reports that possibly some buses were in the parking lot and were actually moved from this zone. Could you confirm or deny?
We're still looking into all those reports at this time, and once we have that information, we'll have it available.
And in terms of this time period around 8:34, I think was the touchdown, were buses out on the roads at that time, and what did you all do?
There were some buses that were still arriving at that time. The buses either delivered the students to the schools, or they would seek shelters in other schools that were close by during the tornado warning. But our bus drivers did an excellent job today, as well as our principals, our staff, our teachers. They all did a great job in responding to this.
We know that some other districts either delayed or closed
We have an excellent relationship, not only with Mr. Ansley with emergency management, but our law enforcement partners. And we looked at the reports from the National Weather Service, and as a team, we made a decision to continue with school today. We thought that was what was best.
Looking back, you know, hindsight, would you have done things differently?
I think I will say this, our team at the school, the students in the building, our staff in the building did an excellent job of following safety protocols in our buildings.
Just for clarification, there was no delay, like no 2-hour delay.
We did not. We went on a regular schedule today.
What would you say to parents who do have concerns, given the decision that was made not to delay school today?
I would tell them that Union County Public Schools puts the safety and security of our students and our staff as our number one priority, and our buildings are safe places for our students and staff.
One more question?
Thank you.
The Emergency Operations Center is still open at this time, so we will continue to monitor damage assessments and collect data related to the storm. But it is worth noting that this week is Severe Weather Preparedness Week, which of course is a reminder for families to always have a plan for severe weather. So I encourage families, if they don't, to come up with a family plan. In the event of a tornado warning, of course, to seek shelter in a sturdy facility away from windows on the lowest level of a home if possible, and avoid being in a vehicle if you are traveling, to get out and get into a brick and mortar place where you can be safe. Additionally, we encourage residents to sign up for Union County's free emergency alert system, which they can do on the Union County website. It sends notifications either to your phone or your email, and automatically sends severe weather notifications from the National Weather Service. So we will follow up with a press release with additional information shortly, and appreciate you all being here today.